Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. That sounds identical to the hardware. Hello, everyone. Yeah, that's not right. Hello, everyone. There we go, that's right. So, today I have the most expensive analog versus digital shootout in the history of Mixing Wednesdays. Alright, so today we have a real, I promise, it's a real PULTEC hardware. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my physical hands on it. No, I got these are virtual hands, okay? My virtual hands on a real life PULTEC in the form of Access Analog. That's right, you can stream analog hardware via the internet, and I printed these tracks via Access Analog. Links are in the description down below so you can try it out for yourself as well. So, how close are the PULTEC plugins to a real deal PULTEC? Let's find out. Right, very, very simple. 3 sources: bass, guitar, drum kit. Settings are not going to be the same due to the fact that PULTECs are all different. They are notorious for each unit sounding different, okay? Seemingly every PULTEC has its own sound. They're very, very inconsistent from what I've been told. Okay, so the examples you're about to hear have all been done by ear. So first off, what you're going to hear is the NOISEASH Ruletec algorithm versus the Acoustica Audio Purple, which is convolution sampling, okay? Algorithm versus convolution sampling versus the real deal. There's a reason why I've not got the universal audio in just yet, and you'll find it out later on, okay? So just stick with me. So, side by side, in solo, and then obviously I'll let you hear what it sounds like all together. So in solo, bass, guitar, drums, side by side versus the real deal, algorithm versus convolution. Let's do it. Right, okay, so side by side, I think bass and guitar, an average listener isn't going to tell the difference, especially not in solo. They're just not going to tell the difference. I was able to get it very, very close. However, in the drums, which I found very, very interesting, low end, it's basically there. It's basically there. If you listen long enough and hard enough, you'll hear slight differences. You might be able to pick it out. But in the high end, everybody's going to pick it out in the high end. There is a darkness in the hardware. And no, it's not broken. I'll show you why it's not broken later on. The plugins cannot get this darkness that this particular PULTEC has. I don't know if it's just this particular PULTEC. Again, they all sound different, that's what I've been told. Now, a lot of people may look at the settings and go, Paul, you could have attenuated 20k more. If you attenuate 20k more, what happens is the cymbals just turn into mush and the snare just becomes really, really dark. So I had to try and find settings where I was able to have a middle ground where the high end wasn't as bright, but the snare wasn't really muddy, and having that balance. It was really hard. The snare actually sounds louder in the drums, I think, because it's got more mids in it. There is a snap in the snare of the hardware that I quite like. You cannot get that same kind of transient snap of the hardware and the plugins. You just can't do it. I tried everything and I couldn't do it. So there are differences, but how do all these differences stack up within a context of a mix? Side by side, all together. Let's do it. Right, so we've heard all three of them all together. But it kind of brings me to the conclusion that as much as they all sound different, this is meant to be, does a plugin sound like a PULTEC? In certain sources, in certain situations, the plugins are nearly identical, these ones. But in terms of that high end, they just can't do it. They can't recreate it. So do they sound exactly like a PULTEC? No, they do not. However, what if I was to tell you that there is a plugin, and again, I'm going to put my balls on the guillotine here, right? Okay, the UAD, in my personal subjective opinion, sounds identical, as close as you're going to get anything else to sound in digital form to this specific PULTEC. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll take the Acoustica Audio Purple out because it's the one that I like the least. So what we'll do is we'll do side by side, same again, same sources, settings will be on the screen. Just listen to how the UAD nails the sound, absolutely nails, bum, 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 nails the sound of this Access Analog PULTEC, okay? Same setup as before, just listen. It's got that sound of that PULTEC. Okay, it's maybe just a slight touch, a little bit brighter in the drums. Just a touch, but it's near identical. That snappiness in the snare, it has it. The low end, it has it. The harmonics, it has it. In solo, it absolutely nails it. To the point where, like, honestly, see when I go back and forth, you would not, nobody in this earth would be able to tell when I was switching back and forth. UED and that PULTEC are just identical. Absolutely chef kiss identical. I know I'm getting a little bit over the top, but this is the very first time that I've ever heard a plugin sound so close to a piece of gear. Everybody's probably shouting at the screen going, but it will not sound the same when it's all kind of built up together, right? When they're all mixed together and you're kind of getting that kind of analog vibe over all the tracks, it's not going to sound the same. Well, let's test it. And that's the way I'm going to end this video. So if you have liked this video, please like this video. Please like this video. Consider subscribing. There's new content up every Wednesday. It's a Patreon campaign that you can help invest in actual hardware gear. I've just done my first hardware analog versus digital shootout last week with the APHEX AURAL Exciter. It's on eBay, okay? I'm selling it. Links in description. And there's also a join button down below so you can get stuck in with Mix on Wednesdays and actually have an input into the plugins and also find out about stuff before I do them. Alright, so this has been my hardware versus digital PULTEC shootout. In my opinion, UAD is identical, and I'm just going to say I think it's identical when you actually put them all up together as well. I'm just going to say it. That's my opinion. Subjective opinion. Comments down below. Don't be shy. Like and subscribe. And yes, let me know what you think, okay? Most importantly, let me know what you think. Is UAD as identical as I think it is when you bring them all together? I've been Paul Third. This has been Mix on Wednesdays. Don't be shy, and I'll see you again next week.